Welcome to the clinical cookout. You know you need it, it's kinda scary, but mental health is necessary. Four educated queens taking the lead, hold their hands and they'll help you succeed. Lay your head back, relax, just like that. Now listen to, learn, and your problems will burn away. Cookout, you know, we got just what you need. At the cookout, your heart and mind we will be. At the cookout.
This podcast is for educational purposes only. We are qualified clinicians who will cover various topics on mental health and will sometimes provide community resources. We are not being paid by any organization for our content, and any information we provide is general and pertains to our own personal experiences. We do not provide psychotherapy, diagnoses, or treatment recommendations on air. Any concerns related to your individual mental health should be directed to your medical and mental health professionals. We are not responsible for others' decisions or the subsequent consequences.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Clinical Cookout. Today we have a great hot sauce. We are going to be discussing gatekeeping blackness. So this stems from something that happened a while ago with the Kendrick Lamar Juneteenth concert, and the idea that a lot of other people of color felt like we were underrepresented, when in reality that was for Black culture and Black people. So some people got into the discussion of why aren't we gatekeeping our culture more? Like, yes, we invited y'all into this space specifically of hip hop, but that doesn't mean it's yours. That doesn't mean we always have to give you representation when it belongs to us. So it was kind of some back and forth with, should we be gatekeeping our culture, and should we gatekeep blackness to have things that are exclusive to us?
Yes. Now hear me out. I think so when it comes to certain things. For example, when there is cultural lingo that we use and other cultures take it and make a different meaning and it loses its original meaning, to me, that's a problem for me, because now you have people talking about certain things that they don't even know the meaning to, or didn't even get the chance to learn the meaning to. I was in a training and a trainer said that her daughter started using the word bussin'. And I'm looking at her like, she was like, I don't even know where that comes from. These generation, is it Z? Are we Z? Generation Z? The new
This
kid?
new generation is our kids, are Z.
Yes. She was like, well, this lingo from Generation Z. And I'm like, sis, that's AAVE. That ain't got nothing to do with Generation Z. And so to me, it's a very importance for us to keep some parts of our culture to ourselves. So that way we can have those things to pass down for generations and generations without it being convoluted by other cultures.
How can you gatekeep something when you mix and breed with other cultures? How can you gatekeep something when you mix and breed with other cultures? It's impossible. If you're going to mix with white culture and you're going to have kids with white culture, who then gets to say that this child is not Black and can't use lingo of dark-skinned people or light-skinned Black people or that? So now you start to mix it, and then they take it and they use it in their different circles. How can you gatekeep that?
I don't think I've ever heard that take, Shug. I particularly like that you said that. I've never even thought of that take myself. You can't gatekeep something if you are procreating with everyone outside, because now you're bringing them in.
Yeah. Come on, come on.
Oh, I don't know what to think about that one. I ain't never stuck for words, but Jesus.
Thanks, y'all.
Keish, help.
What you want me to say? I don't
know
got
what
nothing to say. I don't
know
got
what
nothing to say.
that.
No notes. No
Y'all
notes
listen.
required right now.
I mean,
Listen,
she's right. Like
it is a moment right now. It is a clinical cookout moment right now. Auntie Shug got Auntie Ashley at a loss. That is a moment. Ooh.
Auntie Shug is absolutely right. I haven't thought about it that way or heard that take on it either. Um, but then it becomes a different question, not of should we gatekeep blackness, but it's more of how do we share it? How do we become okay with sharing it if we are going to procreate outside of our culture? And then if we're choosing to do that, we can't control what other people do with these aspects of our culture, because we chose to procreate with them, we chose to bring them into it. So who are we to say like, oh, well, you can only go and use these words this way, or you can only wear your hair this way when you're doing this? Like, we can't control what they take and do with those aspects of the culture.
Do we necessarily have to include procreation though? Like, could this be just outside of procreation, like literally just in our social circles? Like, I've seen people who have allowed other people of different cultures to say and do things and think it's okay and cute outside of procreation. So what responsibility falls back on us to be like, you know what? I don't really know if that's you should be doing or saying that.
You know what? I think it's a part of the responsibility is on us, but also a part of the conversation is also on the others that we are talking about. Like, take for example, this is somebody that I really respect, even though people try to put him in this spot. Like, take Eminem, the rapper. A lot of people felt like hip hop was ours. That is our culture. We birthed it. So you can't then put a white man in the place of top or GOAT, even though he's amazing at his skill. But he's always been one to say, I don't want that spot. I understand. He respects the culture. It's different when you share culture with people who are true allies and who truly respect it and they understand. So the part of it falls on the others as well. Like, can y'all respect it? Like, we don't mind sharing if you can respect certain things because we are the center.
That becomes pretty convoluted too, because then you get people who are better than others. And I'm an Eminem lover, and I would take Eminem over Drake, who we might be needing to gatekeep blackness from him too. I would take him. I would take Eminem over him. I would take him over Future or a lot of these black rappers. I'm not even trying to name drop, but I'll take them over a lot of black rappers any given Sunday. So that's a that's talent. Talent is hard to deal with. If we're just specifically talking about actually gatekeeping our lingo and stuff like that, it's hard to do anymore because everybody wants to have a piece of the culture, whether it's inside of them or coming out of them. They want to have a piece of the culture. So we kind of stuck with being mocked or being mimicked.
I'm just going to y'all might tear me up for this, and our viewers might tear me up for this, but I'm gonna be honest. I fall in that category of people that doesn't really I don't really care. Like, I don't care about gatekeeping our culture. And I only say that because I do what I can within my family to preserve our culture within my family, and that's all that I can control. I can't control who takes what and does what and runs with what, and I'm not gonna sit up here on social media getting mad because so and so did this and this person did that. I'm doing what I can within my family. We are a black family. There are things that we do within our culture that we appreciate and that we pass down from one person to the next. Honestly, I don't give a shit what everybody else doing.
You know, it's a good point that you said that because another thing is too, I don't care how much you try to mimic or how much you try to act like or how much you try to use AAVE or I call it Ebonics. I don't know who made up AAVE. If you, because ebony language, guess what? You can't mimic melanin. You still can't be in it. So no matter what, I don't care how many babies people pop out. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care how many times you go and you seek what's not a black man or a black woman. You still I can get this regardless. And I still have to live in my skin every single day. So even though they mimic it, I mean there's no we true to this.
Basically, what Auntie Sugar said is they not like us, no matter what.
You know you need it. It's kinda scary, but mental health.
All right, y'all, welcome to our main dish, and we want to still talk about this blackness thing. But we're not only talking about blackness in other cultures, we're talking about blackness within our own culture. So, I'm a New Yorker. I'm from Western New York, and I am in Shreveport, Louisiana. Okay, so I have found that the cultures are very, very different. We know that black people are not a monolith. We expect black people to be different everywhere that we go. But I have found that I communicate so much just so different from everybody here that sometimes I can be perceived as rude when I actually have direct communication. Um, I'm not as good at fudging things up. I just typically say whatever I want to say. And however it comes out of my mouth. But there's a difference between cultures, okay? So I've been called, oh, you're a Yankee. That's how you guys talk. You guys are rude up there. And us down here, we have more hospitality. We're much nicer people. So I kind of wanted to talk about how the perception of black people is that we're all black people. Yes, we all have shared experiences, and you know what I mean. But we are different from north to south and west to east. Let's discuss that because I'm getting tired of getting called rude, or you guys are Yankees and y'all are just rude people and this, that, and the third.
So when I was in college, I went to an HBCU, and I feel like HBCU is the prime space where you find out all black people really aren't a monolith, and you are different. Just because you all black don't mean y'all not different culturally and regionally. So we had different clubs that were from the different regions. And that was kind of to get you to meet the people who were from where you were from so y'all could connect so you wouldn't feel so alone. But you also got to engage with other groups. So there was a New York group, there was a DC group, there was a Cali group, there was a Midwest group for black folks from the Midwest, black students from the Midwest. And it, for a second, you could look at it and say, well, why would they divide y'all like that instead of trying to get y'all to unify? Because you connect more with the region that you are from, because we're just different. Like us from New York, we had a certain swag, a certain vibe about us that Southerners had a different swag, a different vibe about them. But it also made us consider we don't fully understand each other, even as black people, because of that. We don't understand each other, being from different places. So it was kind of like you got to realize, hey, it's like I remember seeing it from he was from the I think he was from Minneapolis. Like I saw my first black emo person. Like he was real goth, real emo. I was like, black people do that shit. I was so confused. And he was like, yeah, we where I'm from, it's a lot of us that fall into this. And I was like, huh. And I thought it was really weird because I didn't understand it. I was like, oh, I ain't never seen no black goth emo person. So it's kind of like that, and we don't fully understand each other, which is probably why we can't agree on things.
So there's a girl on TikTok who actually did like a breakdown of different black men and black women who fit in different categories. And I thought it was really cool because she got to explain like again, like you were talking about the black emo person, the preppy person, the spiritual black person. And while it doesn't necessarily mean like they were from different geographical locations, she was just talking about the different categories they fit in. And now granted hers was more regarding dating and things of that nature, but I think there is a bigger conversation around our differences and how those differences can collide and they may not often mesh together, which is why we have different perspectives because we all have different experiences, grew up very differently. And to me, I am always open to getting to know anybody. So I don't care if you're black and like anime. I didn't even know what anime was, to be totally honest, but there are a lot of black people that are into anime. So my experiences aren't as vast with meeting different types of black individuals, except like, people that may be from the hood and stuff like that. Maybe that, but and maybe the suburban. I've met a few suburban black folks as well. But my experience as far as like meeting different people and not getting along with them, I don't really have much of that except maybe with African men. But if we're talking about the United States, then I'll keep it in the United States. But um yeah, I just think we don't fall into the same category all the time. And is it okay for us not to mesh? Is it okay for us not to get along all the time, or have to have the same belief systems? Or do we have the same core beliefs? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think there's nothing wrong with it.
To me, I think sometimes it feels like we do have the same core beliefs and we do have a lot of the same shared experiences. But the reason why I brought up the South is because even though we have the same shared experiences, we're still underprivileged a lot in our communities. We still face racism. If my face is looking straight, then it's because I have an attitude as a black woman. And if her face is looking straight, it's because she has an attitude as a black woman. But whenever I open up my mouth, then I'm the black woman with a serious attitude because of where I'm from. But whenever she opens up her mouth, it was a miscommunication because she's from down south and she's actually really sweet. So that's
It's a
that.
good
I think that's,
example.
yeah, like that's what drives me, is because it's like, okay, even though we are all black people, we're still from a different culture. The culture is different from the east to the west to the north to the south, and I think that maybe we don't always respect each other's cultures, or kind of look at each other and think like, okay, we're all black people, but we all have had very different lived experiences. And then we don't take into account just how much slavery and whiteness has to do with a lot of all of this, and I mean, it pits us against each other, and it just drives me.
I think the mental health aspect here is you being in a situation like that, Auntie Sugar, or any of us being in a situation like that when it's us and another black person from somewhere else, is it can start to have you feeling really anxious in situations like, oh, let me figure out how to say this in a way that's not going to offend them, but that's not authentic to me. How I'm going to say this is not authentic to me anymore, but I'm trying to make it to where it's palatable for them. And that can be really anxiety inducing because you literally feel like among somebody that you feel like we are kindred, we are so different that I got to change who I am with you.
And
That can
so
cause stress.
that's 100%. I think what it is it's stressful. So I've decided to back up. I just won't speak anymore, because now whenever I start talking, I talk too hard, or I talk too, you know what I mean, I'm too aggressive. And I could have said it this way. It's not how you say, it's not what you say, it's how you say things. But if I'm growing up and I'm saying things the way that I've always said things, and it's never actually to intentionally hurt anybody, but it's actually just real, like, um, hey, are you going to the store or not? It's do you reckon you'll be going to the store within the next 10 minutes or not? Like, I don't have time to pussyfoot around the way that I would normally communicate just to satisfy other people so that they're not triggered when I'm actually asking the same exact questions, just from, I mean, a different culture. And I think that people can respect, if, the Chinese culture, or they can respect the Japanese culture, but they don't respect that black people are different in every single culture. And so I don't know. I just, it's anxiety producing, and it's stressful because now I can't be myself because myself is too much for everybody else. But
And it
then
messes with your
you have
self-esteem
a
too.
bang. Yeah, there you go. Go ahead.
Yeah, which is kind of my experience too. So, I did grow up in the country in North Carolina in the South, and then I moved around, but ended up in Charlotte for high school, and it's a different experience because I'm like little country girl, right? I'm extra proper, even though I have the country accent. And I was told so many times in high school how proper I was and how country I was and why you talk like that and why you act like that. And I remember I was like teased about, because my family sat down and ate dinner together every night. That was a part of our culture, like in the South, in the country where we're from. Like that's just what families do. But they didn't do that in Charlotte, so that was something I was picked on about. So it was just like hearing that about myself constantly from other black people. I even remember telling my mom, like, these are not the same. These not the same black people that we were just around. Can y'all take me back? Because I don't like this. This ain't the same thing. but, but hearing that about myself, it did change. It did change the way I communicate over time. Like I feel like I changed the way that I speak to where I tried to get rid of my accent, and then like it just went from there. So I don't have the super country accent anymore because I tried so hard to not have that, and to not speak so proper, and like I couldn't be my authentic self. I had to pretend to be someone else to fit in with that black culture until I was able to get out of it.
So good that you said that because accents too. Accents, the fact that you changed your accent, you felt like I can't even speak the way my voice would normally sound. Do you know how many people do that? And how intelligence and for us, for black people, is tied to that, even from other black people. I've heard other black people, like take Glorilla for example. She from Memphis. She got a strong Memphis accent. They Other black people have literally said, "Oh, she making us look bad. She sounds uneducated. She needs to fix her accent." And it's like, where I'm from, this is how everybody talks. I don't talk different. You talk different. You sound different to me. And to have your intelligence question behind that, that's like hard mentally for something like she could actually be one of the smartest people in the world, or could have been one of the greatest students when she was in school. But now she's stupid because she sounds that way. She has an accent. That's some of the things that we have to like worry about among each other.
So when we came from England, Izzy had a British accent. She had a strong British accent. And the minute she got to school, like she was like, I want to lose it, because they started picking on her, telling the kids that they're white and this, that, and the third. So like it even starts when they're little. Like she just like was like, no, I'm gonna lose it by any means necessary. Sometimes she'll still say a few words and stuff like that here and there, but she'll quickly correct herself. Elias too, he will quickly correct himself, because it's it's just hard to be around other people who only see things one way. And then you get some people who don't leave their city and they try to tell you what black is. And it's like, you've never left your city. Oh my God. Like, there are so many different shades of black and so many different types of black people.
Oh, sure.
To your point, when we were in school, a lot of us didn't have fathers in our households. A lot of us, our parents were separated. It just what it is, what it is. People went to go see their moms, people went to go see their dads. So they used to pick on my best friend because his parents were together. And he used to be like, no, they getting divorced. They getting a divorce just to try and like fit in with everybody else. Because it was like, what black families are intact? And it's growing up, I think it's the most asinine thing to bother somebody about. But like, we just assume that the way our culture is in our little limited space in our minds and our areas is blackness. And it's like, it's so much more. That's why I like Blackish.
I want our audience to realize dysfunction is not black culture. Hood is not black culture. These are slices of a bigger pie. There are a lot of aspects that go into black culture. So when you start to say, oh, if you are not this, then you are not black, you're being real problematic. So for our audience, question to y'all, what is blackness to you? What is it? So that way we can try to come up with a bigger picture